We are ready to go today, and we wanted to bring Ray Longo into the show off the top because he has a lot to say about this. I got to think, Ray, welcome in, that you were grinning ear to ear, at least as this fight was going on, as your guy Khabib Nurmagomedov made it look relatively easy there against Conor Mcgregor.
Yeah, I think, look, man, enough of the bullshit. Stop with all this hype. Just go in and fight, man. I mean, look what's happened with this. Look where this has progressed to. You know what I mean? I like the quiet guys that, they just go in and do what they have to do. I don't like the carnival barkers and then they go in and do absolutely nothing. So, look, I think, how many times is this guy going to trick us at this point? You know what I mean? I mean, they gave him a 40-year-old boxer who, yeah, he was probably the best pound-for-pound guy, but the guy was fucking 40 years old. I mean,
Yep.
he gassed out hitting the guy. He wasn't even getting hit by the time he gassed out. Then, you saw what happened with Nate. You saw what happened now. I don't know. I don't know how this guy keeps on going. I got to tell you, I mean, somewhere deep down inside, I got to believe, something is worth more than money, like your character and your integrity and the way you hold yourself up in public. I mean, I just really want to believe that. But, Kenny said something that I agree. You can't be surprised at what happened. I mean, they set this thing up for a total fiasco. And I think we got to get rid of the double standard. You know what I mean? This guy seems to get away with everything. I don't know what message they want to send, but, he throws a dolly at a bus, no repercussions. Nothing happens. He jumps over the cage. He attacks a ref in Bellator. As far as I know, nothing happens. He hits Khabib at the weigh-in, tries to kick him in the face, athletic commission, nothing happens. Like, what message are you sending? Seriously, what did they want this guy to do? Sit there? He was a gentleman during the press conferences. He held his cool. He did whatever he had to do. He's been attacked. His family's been attacked. His religion, what do you want this guy to do? How many times can you keep poking the bear? So, my emotional side is they got exactly what they deserved. My rational side, no, of course it was wrong. It's not right. And you should be able to control yourself. But to like, again, that's why I say, well, Kenny, you can't be surprised. To tell me that you're surprised that this happened is mentally deficient to me. You know what I mean? Should it have happened? No, obviously not. But it kind of was set up from the get-go, man. I don't know what they want from this kid. I really don't.
And Ray, at the same time, obviously with Khabib, this is a guy who's from Dagestan. He takes his culture and his religion and his people and his family very seriously. And we can't forget the fact that these guys are fighters. These guys are trained to fight, to use their limbs to hurt other human beings. And when emotions get out of hand, guess what? This is going to happen. We've seen it in basketball. We've seen it in soccer, for Pete's sake. We've seen it in football. You get two highly trained fighters out there, and emotions are going to run high. Ray, do you feel like this is actually the end of the story, though? Because a big part of a promoter's job is not only making the right matches, but finding the right storylines. And I know this is probably a hot button with you right now, but do you think we could see a rematch? Do people want to see a rematch?
I 100% don't want to see a rematch, and nothing warrants a rematch. And and here's the deal: everybody's so appalled at what happened. Kenny, here's my question: if there was a rematch, do they use that footage to promote it?
I mean, they use the dolly, so.
I mean, everybody's appalled. This is horrible behavior. Yeah. I'm disgusted. Do they use that footage? Are they disgusted enough not to use that footage? Because I'll tell you, what the problem is, Kenny? If Ray Borg threw that dolly through that bus, this fight never happens. And that's exactly what should have happened. Mm-hmm. Conor McGregor should have been suspended a year, and this fight doesn't happen. That's how you eliminate it. And if you set the precedent there, then Khabib knows if he does something, he's out for a year or 2 years, whatever it is. But to do nothing and to just watch this guy go about acting like a crazy man and with absolutely no repercussions. And I'm not talking about, what the police are doing. I'm talking about you had company people in your company on that bus that were shitting in their pants. What are you telling those people? What happened? Let the cops handle it? How about take a fucking hike? How about that? You're on the shelf for 2 years. I don't give a fuck about the money.
Right.
You're acting like a fucking lunatic. You're out. I mean,
so in terms of
like
Khabib
this is the
Nurmagomedov,
problem.
I just want to jump in here in terms
Yeah,
of Khabib and what happened after the fight. And Kenny, you can toss this to Ray, but I want to get to you first on this.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed to me like Khabib was ready for the fight after the fight, and that he had said there was not going to be a handshake after the fact. You know, he finishes Conor McGregor. He had to be physically removed from Conor by Herb Dean. He was keeping weight on Conor after the fight. You know, some suggested maybe he spit on him. I didn't necessarily see that. I think it was just emotion as he was talking. And then he immediately turned his attention to Dylan Dennis. Now, I've been roundly criticized for saying that this was calculated or premeditated, and perhaps those words are strong, but I felt like some sort of retaliation or second act was an eventuality. And I felt like if it didn't happen in the octagon or just outside the octagon, it was going to spill over to the streets or the hotel. Your thoughts on Khabib in that moment and his immediate reaction and ultimately decision to jump the fence and fight Dylan?
Yeah, and the problem is it still might happen. It still might happen because obviously there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that we don't see as well. These guys are going back and forth all the time. And, you know, it's not like he went out there and attacked the spectator. This is not right of either team for this to happen. In no way am I condoning this behavior, but a lot of people thought that was actually a spectator, that, you know, spectators got hurt. That was another fighter, Dylan Dennis. He's a professional fighter. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitor. He was a top Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitor. These guys have been going back and forth. They've been insulting each other. So tensions were extremely high. He turned immediately to Dylan Dennis. I don't know if Dylan said something to him first or if there was something that happened behind the scenes that he wanted to target Dylan specifically. But, you know, there was retribution that wanted to be laid out. There's no doubt about it. I mean, this was not going to end after the fight, and it's probably still not over, in my opinion.
Right. And the other thing is, John, here's what I offer up. We seen this guy remain very calm under the bus attack. He remained calm at the weigh-ins. He remained calm at the press conference when he was getting attacked. Now you put the emotion of fighting in there, and your adrenaline is fucking pumping through the ceiling. And that's when the guy lost control. He showed that he could do the right thing even when he's getting pissed on. He proved it. He proved it at the press conference. He proved it on the bus, and he proved it at the weigh-in. But after the fight, when those emotions were charged up, so I'm not sure if it was premeditated. I think he definitely wanted retribution. But I think at that time, when his body was still in fight mode, this is when that shit's going down. I don't think he would have attacked the guy at the weigh-in. I think when he's got his mind, you know, in the right spot, he knew he wanted to remain calm. He was in control. But man, it's like you come out of even sparring, your adrenaline, the stories are out of control. You feel great. You're talking about this. Everybody's in a great mood. It's a different vibe when you're fighting, man. You've got different emotions going on. And there's different chemical reactions in your body. And that's what I think we saw, a guy that couldn't restrain himself. He said it at the press conference, and I believe him. That's not the best me. You know, my father's going to smash me when I get home. I think this guy's got some values. You know what I mean? You know, Conor McGregor saying his father's going to whip his ass when he gets home. You know what I mean? I think this guy knew, but you can't poke the bear that many times. You know, you see those kids. You know, they stick their head in there and they want to make goo-goo eyes at the bear. Guess what happens? They get their heads bit off. That's what happens eventually. It might not happen the first time, and it might not happen the second time, but trust me, you keep your head in that cage long enough, you get it bit off. And I think that's what you saw, a guy that just exploded, and he was, you know, he was just under a different set of, you know, emotions that were going on in his body. Given the choice to make, you know, the difference between right and wrong, I think he does the right thing. But emotionally invested in a fight like that, at that magnitude, I think he lost it. And I think I'm giving the guy a fucking pass. I don't.
Well, and largely that's my thesis statement,
I'm agreeing with him. Why are we talking about me jumping over the cage? Why is nobody talking about the other shit that led up to this? There was a chance for the UFC to prevent this.
I think that's fair, and largely I'm on your side. He gets a pardon from me because he's established so much goodwill with me, and he is so respectful and well-rooted. And I do have a lot of respect, Ken Flo, for the culture and how they all stick together. And
Yep.
I think now that Kenny's a father, I mean, we can all say that's the one trigger for us, I would think, right? Is that, dude, you say anything or well, actually do anything, say anything about my daughters? Like,
Oh,
I don't
that's
care if
horrible.
I'm jeopardizing a $2 million paycheck. Like, it's on. So
I
there are
agree
certain
with you
triggers with
100.
certain guys. And I do think because UFC security is so goddamn tight and was so enhanced because of the Dolly incident and because the T-Mobile Arena security did so well and Las Vegas PD was all over it, that largely this could have been a lot worse and disaster was actually avoided, thank fucking God.
Yeah, listen, John, everybody has a breaking point. It might take some guys 1 second to break. It might take guys 20 minutes to break. It might take guys a month to break. But everybody has a breaking point. Everybody. And you're saying the same thing with your kids. Yeah. As a parent, there is nothing worse than watching your kids get attacked or if they even
Right.
have, they're
Hey,
afraid to go to the doctor, anything. It's gut wrenching, man. Gut wrenching.
and guess what? Conor didn't press charges for two reasons. One, I truly think he wants a rematch. But number two, I'm sure he knew that there was a part of him that was out of line as well. You know what I mean? He knew
100%.
exactly what he
Look,
was doing. He went for the jugular vein on a few of the comments
yeah.
that he made. He was spitting venom. He knew it, and I don't think that's why he. I think that's a big part of why he didn't press charges.
I agree with you. And that's where I'm going to say, look, I like Conor McGregor for that because if he would have pressed charges, I would have absolutely no respect for the guy at all, like zero. But the fact that he did do the right thing, look, I think the guy's a fighter. I think he's a martial arts guy, but he's got to balance out what he's doing with the fighting. You know what I mean? This
Yeah.
shit is. I mean, who's going to buy into this shit anymore? I don't know. I mean, can he get away with this? Like I'm going to smash his. I'm going to. Of course, you're a fighter. You're going in there to. What do you think you're going to do? Go in there and dance with the guy? I mean, what do you? I don't even get his shtick anymore. You know what I mean? And look, he couldn't break this guy mentally. Yeah, that's the bottom line. And I think when the day of reckoning came, man, he just had nothing. I didn't see anything in